A combination of Peter Trigo, Joss Butler and the weather threatened to keep Middlesex waiting for their LV County Championship win over Somerset on the third day in Taunton, but in the end they claimed a 9-wicket success to go back to the top of the First Division table. Somerset had had a shocking day on day 2 as they lost 1 wicket after another, meaning that they followed on 195 runs behind before stumbling to 35 for 5 before Trigo and Butler started a belated recovery at the end of proceedings. It was now up to these two to bat on for a long time on the third morning. The good news was the day began with the sun out and the pitch still a good one to bat on, in spite of the events of the previous day. There were some thoughts that this pair of aggressive hitters would come out with all guns blazing, yet for the most part the opposite was true as they got their heads down and battled hard for their runs. Indeed, it took Middlesex an hour to break through, by which time this pair had taken the total from 112 for 5 to 157. Trigo on 82 then just skewed his drive and was snapped up sharply by Neil Dexter to give Tim Murtagh his 5th wicket of the innings. Murtagh has done that 3 times already this season and 21 times in his career. He was then given a break, which was good news for Alphonso Thomas. Well, it was until he worked a ball from James Harris straight to Tom Smith at mid-wicket. Somerset was 7 down and still trailed by 10, but Butler still showed no signs of going into a one-day mode. His 50, his 3rd of the summer in the 4-day game, was one of his slowest, using up 124 balls, of which 7 were used for 4s. It was an innings of real responsibility, which ultimately gave his side a chance of saving the game, but only if it poured down with rain. Somerset were just ahead by the time that Jack Leach got away with an edge off Smith, which nutmegged the slip fielder and went for 4. Leach did well in supporting Butler for more than an hour as Somerset showed a lot more fight this time around. They lost this match because of a crazy few hours on the second day, in which they lost 15 wickets in 55 overs. The way these two were batting now, such a stat seemed hardly credible. Middlesex, of course, still had their tails up though, and Gareth Berg floored Leach just after lunch. 45 minutes had gone by in the afternoon in which there had been a brief break for bad light, by the time that the visitors got rid of Leach, who, having made 21, was bowled by Smith, who'd switched ends to find some turn. Then 5 overs later, the big wicket of Butler, who on 85 in 4.5 hours tried to hit Gareth Berg over the top but found Chris Rogers instead. Murtagh now had the second new ball in his hands. He didn't need it for long either, as he trapped Steve Kirby in front for his 10th wicket of the match, the 3rd time he's achieved that in his career, and it was his 30th wicket of another very promising season. He leads the bowling pack at the moment. Somerset have been dismissed for 265, a good recovery from 35 for 5, but it still left Middlesex only 71 runs to win for a 3rd time this season. They knocked off 11 in 9 balls before the rains came down, leaving the players off the pitch until 20 past 6. Back on, and Middlesex were naturally in a real hurry to get the job done, not wanting to leave it to the weather gods on Saturday. They could take a few risks. After all, they could afford to lose a couple of wickets. But generally, Rogers and Sam Robson played the ball on its merits and scored freely enough, especially when the bowlers overpitched. It had been a thoroughly professional performance all round from a side which have undoubtedly improved on last year when they finished 3rd in the LV County Championship. Rogers will have been disappointed not to see his side over the line. Having raced to 25 with 6 boundaries, he chopped a ball from Jamie Overton back onto his stumps. Overton is the one Somerset man to take something from this game. That was his 7th and last wicket of this match. The more experienced Kirby, Trigo and Thomas didn't manage 1 wicket between them. The winning hit came at 10 past 7, Middlesex having claimed the additional half an hour, with Joe Denley guiding a ball from Kirby to 3rd man, although the batsman almost did himself a mischief with a nasty slip at the non-striker's end. He wouldn't have cared too much about that, as his side had won very comfortably. The margin was by 9 wickets, and the 22 points gained puts Middlesex 3 points clear of a rampant Yorkshire at the top of the table. Somerset will find themselves in the bottom 2 if Surrey defeat Nottinghamshire on Saturday. Over the years they've been slow starters, but 5 games in, they're already some way behind the leaders.